Good morning, family. Good morning. This is Dr. Positive here with Liberia Shall Rise. The topic today is, can Liberia be more beautiful than Dubai or Miami? You know, once upon a time, our president, Mr. George Weah, said that Liberia is just like Miami. You know, I've been thinking and said, hey, what was the president thinking? Was he dreaming, or is this his plan for Liberia that he had? That's what he said. Hey, Liberia is like Miami. So I kind of delved into it and said, okay, was the president wrong or right for saying that? I mean, everybody have the ability to dream. Everybody have the right to dream. So maybe our president had a plan, or dream about Liberia, or he just have faith that someday Liberia will become beautiful. So I would like to see that plan. If our president really indeed have a plan to make Liberia look like Miami, I would like to see that plan. But if not, I want to know, what was the president thinking when he said Liberia is like Miami? So I just want to go through a few things with you guys, kind of like traveling in the president's mind to say, hey, all right, if the president say the Liberia is like Miami, what did he mean, and how is that possible, or how can that be possible? So bear with me. I'm going to play our theme song. Once that song finish, I will come back and I'll walk you through a series of pictures and why is it important for us as a country to have a vision. Even if the president was joking, where do we see Liberia in the next 20, 30 years as a people? Where do we see Liberia? Do we see Liberia better than Miami, or do we see Liberia greater than Dubai? Right? So let's delve into this together. And I mean, it's okay for us to dream, but dream without a plan, dream without vision, dream without action is dead. Even the Bible said faith without work is dead. So if we have a plan to make Miami, or to make Liberia greater than Miami, or to make Liberia more beautiful than Miami, what are we doing to get to that dream, or to that plan that we have as a country? So this is what I want to walk you through today. So please join me, share the show, invite people. I'm going to be doing the same in the background shortly. So I'll play the song. While the song is playing, then I'm going to come back right after the song finishes. Again, welcome to Liberia Shall Rise. This is Dr. Positive. We all have to think positive. We all have to have a dream. And I want to admonish the president, even if he was even joking to say Liberia is like Miami, or Liberia can be greater than Miami, or Liberia look like Miami. I would like to walk you guys through on what I think when the president said Liberia look like Miami. So let me play the theme song, and then we'll share the show in a little bit. I'll be right back. So Othello Collins, where are you? This is Othello Collins. He said, "Oh, Hill Liberia." This is a beautiful song. Listen to it. Follow him on YouTube, on any platform that you can stream music, and just follow him to support him. Thank you.
Oh, hail Liberia, hail. Oh, hail Liberia, hail. This glorious land of liberty shall long be ours. The new name, great be her fame, and mighty be her power. Oh, oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
right, family, again, welcome. This is Dr. Positive with Liberia Rise here. Today's topic is a big one, right? Can Liberia be more beautiful than Dubai or Miami? You know, our president once said Liberia is just like Miami. And I want to walk you through what I think the president was thinking. So bear with me. I'm not in the president mind. This is my analysis. Me, Dr. Positive here, too small to kind of get a direct connection with the president. So I couldn't talk to the president or ask him these questions. But when you guys are going out there to campaign or to kind of listen to the president speak, just asking the question, President, what did you mean when you said Liberia is just like Miami? Right? So Dr. Positive is kind of walking you through what the president thinks. So right now, I want to walk you through. Let's bear with me. Let's go to class this afternoon, okay? So look at this for me. Let me make this a little bigger for you guys. So when the president said Liberia is like Miami, right? I want to agree with the president. Liberia have beaches, and you say Liberia have a coastline. Liberia have so many beaches like Miami have. Liberia is a coastal country like Miami. So Miami have sun, Miami have beaches, Miami is like Florida. It rains in Florida, so it's beautiful. So when the president said Miami was like Florida, maybe in that the positive mind, maybe the president was thinking about the weather, maybe the president was thinking about the beaches, maybe the president was thinking about the shorefront, right? Where in Liberia you have beaches, you can go to the waterfront and walk around and see actual water. You can touch the sea, you can touch the ocean. So Miami have beaches. So the president himself maybe said, okay, my Liberia have beaches. So Liberia is like Miami, right? So that I think that's what I think the president was thinking. But if you look at other things, Liberia have beaches, right? Liberia have water, a lot of water. You look at this here, they said the area of Liberia have landmark, right? So in my mind, I'm thinking on a simple scale that when the president said Liberia is like Miami, he was just thinking about the beaches. He was just thinking about how beautiful the front, the shore front of Miami is, and he said, "Well, Liberia is like Miami because we do have beaches too." But if we now compare Liberia to Miami, actually you can see that Liberia has something greater than Miami. Liberia is first bigger than Miami, right? So as compared to landmarks, we can build 20, 30, or 40 Miami in Liberia. So when the president said Liberia is like Miami, I think the president on that level, I would say the president was thinking small, because in its landmass size of Liberia and Miami, Liberia is way bigger than Miami. So Liberia too small to be like Miami, or Miami can fit in Liberia. So in that level, I think the president was thinking small when he said Liberia is like Miami. I mean, on the side of beauty, on the side of landmark, I totally agree with the president that Liberia has beaches, Miami have beaches, right? So you can say, yes, Liberia is like Miami. But as far as size, Liberia is way bigger than Miami. So Miami can't even pull forward when it comes to Liberia. So that's one thing I want you to look at first. And you look at the landmark here, Miami is like 56 square miles, right? Liberia is 43,000 square miles. That's how big Liberia is. So Miami you can multiply, or let's say 56 and divide it by 43,000. There will be thousands of Miami in Liberia, right? So right now, as far as size is concerned, Liberia is bigger than Miami. When you look at the amount of water Miami even got close water, the water Liberia got, or the beachfront Liberia got, is way plenty than what Miami have. So Liberia, on the other hand, hi brother, how you doing? Or hi family, I can't see your name, so please say your name. For some reason, it's saying you're a Facebook user, so I cannot see your name, but hello, thank you for joining. Again, appreciate the support, right? So on the level of size, right, when we look at size, Miami can't even put forward when it comes to Liberia. So that's another thing. Liberia is bigger than Miami, so we have advantage over Miami, right? We have advantage over Miami. We have a lot of beachfront over Miami. So if we just look at something else the president was comparing when we said beaches, right? So if you look at the beachfront, right? I said Miami, Liberia, Miami, Florida. So if you look at this is kind of West Point area, you see that we have all these shorefront, right? So when the president said Miami is like Liberia, he was looking at the water. Liberia have water, Miami have water. So they same, right? They equal. Liberia have beachfront, right? Liberia have beachfront, Miami have beachfront. So that one they equal. No party on that one. No party on that one. When the president said Miami is like Liberia, he saw water, he saw the beachfront. He said, no, definitely Liberia is like Miami. And I agree with the president on that one. No joking, no partying. Liberia is like Miami. But when you look at development-wise, Liberia, on the other hand, doesn't put foot to where Miami is. So on that level of development, when you look at the hotels, all these big buildings, somebody sat down and said, we want to see beauty. We want our hotels to be beautiful in front of at the beach. When people go on our beach, we want to see this. So maybe as a president, again, that's what I'm saying. I'm not in the president mind, but if you look in the president mind, maybe when he was saying Liberia is like Miami, he's kind of dreaming on where he wants to see Liberia, right? So that's where I'm putting myself in the president mind. Say, okay, when the president said Liberia is like Miami, he look at the beaches, he look at the shore front, he look at the water, he said, yes, Liberia is like Miami. But as far as development, he wanted to put something in our mind to start making us to think big. And me, Dr. Positive here now, I'm thinking big. I said, Liberia can definitely be bigger than Miami, right? Because we first have more land, right? We have more land than Miami does. We have more waterfront than Miami has. So definitely we can have thousands of Miami. But how do we start this process? Look at the development Miami have, right? Look at this picture, Miami, Liberia, Miami, Florida. How long will it take for us to turn Miami, Liberia into what Miami, Florida look like? Or how can we make Miami, Florida, or Miami, Liberia more beautiful than Miami, Florida? Somebody have to sit down. Somebody have to sit down and plan. So if the president have that plan in his war room, I would like to see that. I would like to see which one of the leader is even thinking to say, all right, the president said Miami, Florida, Liberia is like Miami, Florida. What did he mean? What plans do we have? The next 20 years, what are we going to do to make sure Liberia is like Miami, Florida, right? Maybe the president have already hired designers. Maybe the president have already hired urban planner. Maybe the president have already hired architects. Now they're planning to kind of develop somewhere in Liberia to make it look like Miami. So again, me, Dr. Positive, putting myself in the mind of the president, I'm thinking that the president have this vision for Liberia that says Miami, Liberia is going to look like Miami. So he just teased us to kind of make the argument start, to make us start talking. So Dr. Positive to say, let me go and do my own little research, see how Miami look like, and see, kind of compare it to Liberia. So this is what I'm doing, comparing Liberia to Miami. When our president said Liberia look like Miami, this is what I think he was looking at. We have beaches, as you can see, the beautiful waterfront. We have beaches. We have water. Miami have water. You understand? But two things that have to happen for these things to work. First, we have to clean our beaches, right? We have to clean our beaches in order to invite people to come to these beaches that we have. We have to clean them. Next, we have to develop hotels at the beaches, because you don't want, when people coming on the beach for fun, right? You don't want them to drive hours and hours to come to your beach. So that's the reason most of the beaches you see in the West, they have hotels. They have different buildings, right? That make sure they have resorts and stuff that people go and reside in when they come to the beach. So as soon as you come from the water, you go in your little hotel room, you sleep, you wake up again, you go and jump back in the water, you have some jolly, then you come back again. So the whole enjoyment is continual enjoyment. You can travel all the way to Buchanan to go on the beach, then you have to come back to Moria to sleep, then go back to Buchanan again, or maybe drive an hour away from the beach and then go sleep, then go back on the beach. That's not fun. Me, when I'm on the beach, I like to be on the beach. I just wear my swimming trunk, I walk straight on the beach. You understand? And that's why the people look at in Miami, they say, hey, we have all this waterfront. We need to develop hotels. So our country, I'm hoping that our president, the leadership, they are thinking about beaches in this format. Like, we have to develop our beaches, we have to build hotels, we have to build infrastructure to welcome people to our beaches. All right. So again, my people, this is Miami, Liberia. This is Miami, Florida. Our president said Liberia look like Miami, and I'm just walking you through on what the president thought. Next, if you look at beaches again, like actual resorts and stuff in Miami, maybe the president was looking at Libasa in Liberia, and then you're looking at the Bar Harbor in Florida, right? And he said, all right, Liberia is like Miami because I have a beautiful resort in Liberia. I have few beautiful resorts in Liberia that look beautiful than the ones that are in Miami, or that look like the ones that are in Miami. So when you look at Echo Lodge, right, the president said Liberia is like Miami because this in Liberia, Echo Lodge, Libasa Echo Lodge, is way beautiful. Is anything that anybody want to go to. So the president looking at this after going to Libasa or after going to Tropicana Lodge and all these other places and enjoying himself, he said, hey, Liberia is like Miami, right? So again, it could have been this comparison that the president was making, but is that it? As a people, is this where we want to stop, right? How many of Libasa Echo Lodge can we build to encourage foreigners to travel to Liberia? How many other hotels can we build along the shoreline so that people can encourage people to come to Liberia? And this is where we have to start thinking as a people. What do we want to focus on? Is it tourism? Is it beautification of our country? How do we beautify our country? So again, when the president made this little statement, I kind of saw it and I said, all right, the president trying to kind of encourage Liberians to start thinking big, right? Maybe the president trying to encourage Liberians to start thinking big. I know people were laughing at him. People put video, they trash in Liberia and all those stuff. But again, that's a challenge to himself, right? You have trash in Liberia. You have your streets are dirty. You have your hotels. You don't have enough hotels to invite people. So as a president, when you make that kind of statement, you have to start doing things to tell people, hey, when I said Liberia is like Miami, these are some of the things that I was thinking about. You understand? So you now start building hotels. You now start encouraging people, investors to come and invest in your country. So this is what I think. If the president followed that direction, then eventually it will be a challenge for the next president, right? To say, all right, Mr. We have said Liberia was like Miami, but he didn't do anything about that. And unfortunately, he lost the election. You took over. So what plan are you going to make? Or what country do you compare Liberia with? Or what do you want to make Liberia to look like? In fact, we don't even have to compare ourselves to any other country or any other city, but we have to look at other cities and say, hey, I want to look better than this country. Great leaders leave great infrastructure, right? Look at Egypt, look at India, right? All these places that you have great leaders, they left great monuments, they left great things. Even look at Rome, right? When Caesar and the Romans were in power, they did so many things. They built so many beautiful things that they left in office. So this is a challenge to our leaders. When you are in office, what are you going to leave in office? I would say, hey, when this person was in office, this is the infrastructure to build. The beaches, what are you help to develop tourism in Liberia? As a leader, that would be an achievement. And how do you develop tourism? You build roads, you build beaches, you build hotels, you encourage investors to come in and invest in your community, right? So these are the things that leaders have to start doing to say, hey, I want to have one of the most beautiful hotels in Africa. How do you do that? I want to have one of the most beautiful beaches in Africa. How do you do that, right? You have to start planning. You have to invite investors. You have to invite developers to start building those beaches that you want to see, the future you want to see. You have to start putting things in place. If you look at Dubai, 20 years ago, it was horrible. The place looked bad. But today, you look at Dubai, every African is traveling there. One leader sat down and said, hey, this is how I want to see my country in the next 20 years. And they started making plans to develop the country like that. So somebody had to sit down and say, this is where I want to see Liberia, and have to start working on developing Liberia the way they want to see it. Because if nobody make that plan and nobody make that statement, and to start working on Liberia the way we want to see it, Liberia is going to be where it is forever. You understand? So we need people that think bigger than where we are. Right? That think way bigger and say, listen, I know America is great. I know this is great, but Miami it's not anything close to what Liberia is capable of. Me, Dr. Positive, I'm thinking that even when Liberia ready for development, people will leave Miami to come and live in Liberia because Liberia will be more beautiful, Liberia will be more prettier than Miami. You understand? So I kind of agree with the president, but I would say Liberia is like Miami. I can say Liberia will be more greater than Miami. That's a statement that if the president had made that statement, I kind of agree with him. I said Liberia can be greater than Miami. That's what Dr. Positive would say. And I want to challenge leaders that are taking office. What will you make Liberia to be like? What is your vision for Liberia? Now, so if you look at this image here, let me just make it full screen for you guys to see it quickly, then I'll move on to my next segment. But you look at this image here, Libasa in Liberia. It's beautiful. Look at the beach in the water. That place is beautiful. So all we need is somebody to build something, somebody to start cleaning places, somebody to start developing places. And the owners of this facility, I want to give my hats off to them for doing this for Liberia, because this is what we need for Liberia to rise. All right. So I'm going to go to the next slide. I'm going to go to the next slide and we'll talk about the future of Liberia. Right? We'll talk about the future of Liberia. One of the things I want to leave you with is where will we build Liberia's next international airport, for example? This is a question. Where do we build Liberia's next international airport? If we say Liberia will be greater than Miami, when people start flying to Liberia a lot, right? They cannot land, everybody cannot land on Roberts Field, right? So if we have a beach in Robertsport, in Cape Mount County, people can fly all the way to Roberts Field, then drive all the way to Robertsport. So we have to start thinking big. Where is our next airport going to be? Right? Where is our next airport going to be? What roads are we going to need for us to travel, for people to travel smoothly between places in Liberia? Right? So we have to start thinking like that as a people. Like we have to come up with our own national development plan and make sure that everybody that get elected follow that national development plan. I know we still have election coming forth, but these are the kind of discussion we should be having in our elections. Right? Now who will get... I won't go into politics. Y'all hold on, let me drink some water. Yeah, but when we having our elections, these are the kind of discussion we want to start seeing, right? Who is talking about building the next resort or building the next community for us to encourage tourism? Let somebody sit down and tell us their 10-year plan for tourism for Liberia. Right? Let's see that from our leaders, because we're not seeing this, we're not having this kind of discussion. So our discussion in politics is just attack. People attacking each other. I want to start seeing political discussion where we are talking about big dreams, right? I'm going to build a next airport in Liberia. Elect me as your president. I'm going to make sure that Liberia have 3 international airports, right? That's something that I would challenge my colleague and say, hey, if you elect me as president, I'm going to make sure Liberia have the next 3 beautiful international airports in Africa, right? Not just Roberts Field, because Roberts Field is not even as beautiful compared to any other international airport, right? I'm going to help Liberia to establish the next best tourism center in Africa, the next tourist attraction in Africa. Those are the kind of things that our leaders should start talking about to encourage people to say, how do you create jobs? How do you create jobs? If you start talking about tourism alone can help individuals that can start their own businesses. They don't have to work for the government and stuff like that. So if you tell people I'm going to create 10,000 jobs, you tell them how you're going to create it, and by doing improving in tourism, by creating opportunities for people to build hotels, to build resorts in Liberia, you create job automatically, because people will start finding a way to create pepper. People will start finding a way to create kala, and they'll be selling it to people as they come to Liberia. All the Liberian delicacies, all that juicy roasted fish with a peanut butter inside. People will start making those things, and they'll start making money. A lot of money. A lot of people will make money. So that way, indirectly, if you create tourist attraction, you create opportunity for companies to come and build hotels in Liberia, and Liberia tourism improve, you will then create opportunity for the common people to create jobs for themselves. They don't have to work for government. So these are the kind of discussion we want to start having. Where will our next capital be located? In Liberia. Where will our next capital city be located? In terms of decentralization, in terms of developing our country, Monrovia is too overcrowded now. We cannot fix the problem in Monrovia. So how do we fix the problem in Monrovia? We have to find a different capital city. Who is discussing that? Which leader is going to build our next capital city? How do we develop the country if we just pile up everything in Monrovia? Since 1847, for God's sake, we decided that Monrovia was going to be our capital. That place is still, it's just congested. We don't even have a development plan for Monrovia. What do we want to see Monrovia look like in the next 20 years? Right? So these are the kind of discussion we want to start seeing. And then somebody will say, how do we want to see River G? River G is a county in Liberia, just one county. In the next 20 years, how do we want to see River G? What do we want to see it look like? What natural resources or what natural tourist attraction that River G have that we can then invite people to come to see River G? Right? So these are the kind of discussion we should start having as we run for office, as we do things to improve our country, to make Liberia look bigger and greater and more prettier than Dubai or Miami. I just want Liberians to start having that thought, having that mindset, just start thinking that way, that anything is possible. Anything is possible. We just have to put our mind to it and put our money to it. Right? The money that we are getting from all these foreign investors, let's put it towards making Liberia more beautiful. And together, we all will benefit more, because the more job you create, the more happy your citizens will be. And then the more valuable they will see you as a president or as a leader. Right? So I just want to end you with this. Look at Robertsfield, for example. Right? Robertsfield was developed by Erling, right? It was built by Erling. I mean, I want to congratulate her for putting through the work for us to have a new airport. Since whatever time Robertsfield was built, it had looked bad. She went and changed it around, and at least we have this kind of pretty building now, right? We have this pretty building now that you can say, hey, Robertsfield look like this. But when you look from the top of Robertsfield, right, when you look at the pictorial or the area view of Robertsfield, you only see this one fine building sitting down in the middle here. The one fine building sitting down in the middle here, and everything else look horrible, right? So somebody had to say our first impression when people come to Liberia, this is what we want them to see, right? This is what we want them to see. And then we start developing Liberia to look like that. So that first 20-year plan had to start with our airport. When people enter Liberia, what do we want them to see? So now we start making development all around Robertsfield to look as pretty. Even the city development plan, when people buy houses, they should have a certain way that they want Liberia to look like. So this is what we have to start looking at. On the other hand, let's look at Miami again. When you look at Miami Airport, Miami International Airport, you see this building, even just a building alone, you want to go there and hang out because it's beautiful. Right? It's beautiful. So look at the kind of plane we expect. So we have to build our airport bigger if we are looking to accept more visitors over time. If we are looking to accept more visitors over time, we have to think bigger, right? Because we cannot have a small airport and expect millions of people to come to Liberia every year. At some point, the airplanes will start having trouble landing. At some point, people will start having issues because airline will say, hey, I cannot travel to Liberia because when I go, I almost have accident because of so. So we want to make sure we develop our airport as big as we can. And in a future development plan, is that even the airport should have a 10-year or 20-year development plan to say, how do we expand? Every year we do some expansion. So that over time we can be able to hold the amount of crowd that come to our country. Right? So this is the kind of place I want us to start thinking as Liberians. When we ask our politicians questions, these are the kind of things we should start asking them. What is your plan for the next airport in Monrovia or in Liberia? What is your plan for the next hospital in Liberia? What is your plan for the next for improving tourism in Liberia, for increasing tourist attraction in Liberia? What is your plan, right? So these big questions, when we ask our politicians those questions, and if they can't answer it, then we don't need to hire those people, because we don't need people that think small to be running our country. We need big thinkers. We need people that think bigger than themselves, think bigger than where things are, right? To start making our country to look better. Right. So these are the kind of things we need to start doing now. We have to start asking these serious questions. When we ask our politicians these serious questions, there's no way they can lie. Even if they lie, we will find out, because in 2 years, if we don't see anything, we'll say, all right, if you have plans to make Liberia look this way, why not let's see your development plan? Right? If you have plans, what discussions have you been having? All right. So these are the kind of questions we want to start asking our leaders. To conclude, folks, the Bible even say it: without a vision, a people perish. Without a vision, the nation perish. Right. So as a country, I want to admonish us, those in leadership. I want to challenge you to start thinking big about where you want to take Liberia. Look at this plan here. It's called an urban city development plan, right? I took it from planningthing.com. Planningthing.com. So Liberia can probably go to these people and pay them some money and say, hey, we want our country to look like this in the next 20 years, right? If you look at this plan alone, you see they have how you call it, wind tunnel. They have wind tunnel in wind farm, actually in the ocean or in the rivers or wherever. This will provide electricity to the country, to the city, right? You have roads, you have the demarcation. This is the city center where all the office buildings will be, right? You see all the office buildings, and then you see all these things look like factories, right? These could be the factories here, right? And then we have entertainment centers right here in the middle here. We have places where people will come and go and have fun and stuff. Any stadium we want to build, we put them in a special place. And then these are all beaches, like beachfront and stuff like that. So if somebody see this in the next 10 years, they say, this is where we want to see Liberia. We want to have a national development plan. So the next person that come in office has to follow this national development plan to develop Liberia in the way that we have planned. We have sat down as a country and vote this into law and say, this is what we want to see our national development. This is where we want to see Liberia in the next 30 years. So this will take a leader with a big dream. This will take a leader with big vision. This will take a leader with great passion to want to take Liberia to the next level. So I just want to leave this with you guys. As you go to vote, think about it. Start asking these leaders questions like this. What is your plan? The plan for development for Liberia for the next 20 years? What is your plan for development for Liberia for the next 5 years? Electricity. How do you electrify Monrovia with all the problem we have with LEC? How do you electrify? What is your plan to electrify Liberia? Right? With all the accident we have, and what is your plan to help reduce accident in Liberia? Right? With all the unemployment we have in Liberia, what is your plan to reduce unemployment in Liberia? Those simple questions, if you start asking those questions to our leaders, eventually we will see Liberia rising. And on that note, I want to say thank you to everyone who watched. Thank you to everyone who shared the show. You guys have an outstanding day. This is what I wanted to kind of put our minds on for us to start thinking for the future of our country. Again, you guys have a blessed week. Tomorrow we'll be talking about election runoff. We're going to actually be talking about cleaning Liberia. What would it take to clean Liberia? If Liberia should rise, we should also have to have a beautiful country. We also have to have a clean country, because we cannot be inviting people to our country and our country is so dirty. So tomorrow we will be having a topic on the essence of waste management, the essence of cleaning Liberia. If Liberia should be beautiful, if Liberia have to be beautiful than Miami, if Liberia have to be beautiful than Dubai, we first have to start with cleanliness. And like again, the old book said, cleanliness is next to godliness. Our Liberian people are godly. We pray, we celebrate, we worship every Sunday, but our community is dirty. So that means we are getting far away from God. If cleanliness is really next to godliness, then eventually we not drive golf on Liberia just because Liberia is dirty. So I want to end on that note. I don't want to be controversial, but again, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This was a pleasure. Again, this is Dr. Positive. We are here every Saturday at 1 p.m. and on Sundays at 2 p.m. Central. In Liberia, it's 7 p.m. on Sunday, and in the U.S., and on Saturday is 1 p.m. So please follow us, click that follow link at least, and share the show and invite somebody. If you enjoy this, share it and invite somebody. Tell them that we all need to think big if Liberia should rise. And I want to challenge you too to also think big about what is the possibility that Liberia can achieve. So again, guys, you guys have a wonderful day, and thank you. Have a blessed day.